Hey, it's Guido coming at you with a tactics talk. I got a replay analysis for Thylacoleo. We're going to call him Thigh. He's in his German. Tier 8 VK 100.01P. It's a German baby super heavy. So it's the beginning of the mouse-like tanks. We'll get started here. Now the thing about a super heavy is that while it's slow and plodding, and your immediate gameplay, meaning what you're doing at that moment, is relatively slow and steady, it also requires you to make quick decisions. And why do I say that? Not necessarily twitch decisions, but you need to decide quickly and positively where you're going to go, because its speed is slow. If it's going to keep up with the battle or react or get where it needs to be, you've got to start moving yesterday. So right off the bat, I think a lot of you can see that he's messing around with this light tank. Now when he sent me the PM and asked me, hey, would you take a look at this, he did already mention that he spent a long time looking at this WZ. So this is what his camera is doing. And it's still got his attention, and that's good. What he's doing, he's looking at what it's doing, which is fine with his camera. And he is currently moving, so he's decided to go to the town. I think that's a decent decision for that tank. And you can see now he gets enamored of this thing and starts pointing out. So let's talk about positioning really quick. I already mentioned that it's a decent idea to go into town with only one artillery, which is this tank's natural enemy. It's every tank's natural enemy, but especially this one. It would not have been a bad idea to go this way. If we look at the team's setups, they have two heavies over here and then some tier 8 mediums and some cats and dogs TDs. We have a whole lot of heavies investing into the town. You can see that his team is overmatching them on heavies. It would not have been a bad idea for him to go down here and help push through with all of his beef. If you do that with a super heavy like this, you do have to keep moving. That doesn't mean YOLO, but you've got to keep pushing into him and killing as you go. Now he's also got the small gun on this one. He hasn't upgraded to the big one, I believe, dropping about 300 a shot. The other problem with what he's doing right there, messing around with that WZ, now granted he did get it, so good on him, is I'm glad he didn't shoot that, because I don't know if he saw that IS was right there. I was about to say I would snap that off, but that was a close one. The other problem with doing what he's doing there as far as droning around out in the open is obviously the Tiger P. If the Tiger P gets his attention on him, that becomes an easy target while he's kind of moving back and forth real slow, looking for that scout, which is what the scout's trying to do, right? The scout is trying to find some big fatty out in the middle of everything, light him up for artillery. So if you abide by that or help that scout out by stopping your heavy in the middle of the road, that's probably a bad thing. So I'll take a hit over here, and he finds a guy up on the hill. All right, if you had backed up before you shot that, that would have been a kill. Now, whether or not you notice the edge of the building or not is another thing. But positioning for shots is important. And sometimes holding your shot for a potato or two while you determine what is in the way of it and then work around it is better than snapping a shot off. All right, so this position in the middle of the city is interesting. If you look at what they've got going on, they've pushed into it. They know the T-34's here. The Pershing's here. If he's paying attention, the T-26E5 is down in the south, the Pilot's down in the south, and the FV-4202 is down in the south. So there really is almost nothing up in here, unless for some reason the E-25s and some of the small guys have pushed in, which is probably not true. So he doesn't really need to push all the way through. Had he gone right into town earlier, he'd be up in here with these guys. But this is not a bad position right here. It is a little bit exposed to arty. But I think he's doing a decent job of reacting to what is going on at the moment. Thigh, as long as you're doing that, Vice, so you can get a shot in here. As long as you're doing that, Vice just being a moth to the flame, and there's the red things that I'm pointing right at him. Sees the Pershing crossing. This is a good idea. You got him. He's just going to get out in the open. Let you kill him. This is a decently RDE protected spot. Now at this point, Thigh, I would be going in on that, so to speak, T-34. So let's think about this. Why would I do that? I talked about the tier 8s that are down here. There's 4 of their tanks down here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tanks left as far as not arty. And you know one of them is the T-34 there. So that means there's only 3 or so, the Sturv and maybe the 2 E-25s that are sitting back there. I think it's time now to push in on this 34 and take him out. And look, you've got a bunch of guys backing you up. Super heavy tank. Oh, okay, so shot of opportunity. Not a bad idea. Thump him. Now I would have been going straight forward at that T-34. What's he doing? He's looking at you. Go straight forward. Had you gone straight forward, in addition, had you got straight forward, I can't do it right now, but you could have tucked right into that building right there, put your front into it, and you wouldn't even had a shot at your little plate. Plus, you reload fast with that smaller gun. So I think this was an opportunity to get in there and thump that T-34 a lot faster. Of course, that's a good shot there. The negative, obviously, is you come straight at him and artillery's looking at you, yada yada. But there are so many of you around here. I think you've got a bit of cover as far as targets go for the artillery. And yes, he may prioritize you, but he's probably having a hard time hitting you because of where you are. Takes quite a while for you guys to get in there and get this T-34. Alright, so decision time. And I talked about it earlier as far as with these super heavies or very slow big tanks. You have to make your decision now. You can see that somebody has clicked down here into the southeast, and there are 4 tanks, maybe 5, looks like 4, headed up to probably your cap. Alright, they have a decision as well. They're either going to swing back and defend or go to cap. What it usually happens in pubs, some of both. So let's see what happens. Fortunately, you have a scout. The SP1C is over there doing his thing. Hey, there's another target, no problem. Now keep moving. I might have even just shot that on the move with the accuracy of the German guns. I would still be concerned about that Tiger P. I'm frankly amazed he hasn't shot at you, but he must have had plenty of shots at the other heavies. Okay, good job. Keep your turret towards the threat for the moment. Probably not going to see anything else, and I would dive into these buildings. Now my question for you then would be, what's your plan? And I ask you that because we're going to kind of come in here and dither around a little bit. To some extent it's because targets are going to show up, but I'm kind of curious what exactly your plan is here other than sitting back and sort of sniping at guys that might come to the cap. If the idea is that you're waiting for them to come over their tracks and get on the cap, that's probably not going to happen. It might, but it's highly unlikely. Just really depends on how bad they are. Like this guy who's driving completely on your side of the tracks. So good deal. I just sit there. He didn't look at you. Get that one more shot on him. Lead a little bit more. You kind of do what a lot of people do is you just point straight at the tank as it's moving. If you zoom out slightly and lead with your pipper slightly, then when you zoom in, you'll have a better idea of the overall. That was a good shot. I would take that. You have a better idea of the overall picture of what's going on, and you may see another target that's easier to hit. But if you go zooming straight into the smallest pixel possible, you get in the little cluster right here. You got yourself stuck in this building trying to side scrape for some reason, which I don't quite understand. I mean, you've got your side completely to those guys over there. If they do see you, they're going to hit you right in the side. That may have just been a case of getting stuck. All right, so I did talk about what's the plan, and we really dithered around right here. What's going to happen is you're going to back up here, which I'm not sure what's going on. You're also looking backwards while you do it. I'd be looking forward. And I'm thinking, okay, great. Now he's going to push up in there and take these guys on. He's got every hit point he started with. Super heavy tank, some wounded mediums, or a wounded heavy and a wounded medium. We're going to get up there and take them out. So I'm thinking, good idea. Okay, well, one of them hit me, no big deal. And we're, and we're sitting, I'm thinking, wow, Artie has a good chance of taking you on right here. We're kind of sitting out using this little tiny building as cover. I'm thinking, okay, great, now we're going to move up. Let's go left. We're going to go left, and no, we're not going to go left. We're going to sit out here in the open. Okay, so get what I'm talking about here. Come up on this side of the road, on the north side of the road. Use that berm, that rise right there to protect your side as you go. Watch forward, keep your turret turned a little bit towards the other threat right there. Looks like that one just died, so good. Now keep your turret straight, but you need to be on the other side of this road because you're just driving right up the middle. Good news is the arty just died. Hopefully you noticed that. That gives you a lot more freedom of movement. A little slow to react to that guy. The whole reason your turret is forward and you're looking is if you get a guy popping out like that, you snap as you go, because what this is now is an advance. You're trying to get up into those buildings and find those guys. Last thing you really want to do is stop, fire, miss, and then let whatever's over there pop out and get a free shot on you. Now they may do the same while you're still moving, but at least you're closing the distance. Good news is you've got an OHO with you. So I talked about, what would be the decision of some of these guys, and there you go, not bad. I'd have fired on the way. I talked about what would be the decision of both teams when they got to that point where they'd won their flank. And I said it'd be a little bit of both, and that's exactly what happened right here. Typically, that is what happens. I'd have just gone around the corner and nuked this guy. I understand what you're doing. You're side scraping. That's fine. You may have saved yourself a few hit points of damage there, and you do get him. But again, just kind of slows down what you're doing. So back to the point there of half your team went one way and the other half went with you, and those guys are busy getting tore up by a TD that they can't see. Pretty soon that VK is going to die. And now decision point number 2, or major decision point number 3, right? First one being the deployment, second one being what do I do once we won our flank, third one being what do I do right now. You guys are going to choose to go the long way, which I think is the exact wrong decision for super heavies like you. I'd have headed over into this area here first and see if you can't find them moving around. Push in here with using these hills as cover in case they're camping back here or they're on the hills. Push in at these guys and get to here. If they go this way, which is what you may be concerned about, from here or here you can get back. No problem. If you go all the way around the long way and they get on the cap and you're somewhere around here, you can't either get to your cap or you can't either get back to your cap or to theirs to cap. So I'm going to go chipmunk speed here because you both go the same way. VK is fighting, and you may have been thinking, all right, VK will hold him down, we'll get there. Okay, so had I seen that at that point, so initially had I made the decision I'm going south because I know the VK is there, I'd skirt, stop, turn around, I'm going to go back up into here, and then push into here, and then if they're not on the cap, push into here. That's not what we do. Now you guys are coordinating, that's good. You're talking. You may be thinking, all right, this is an easy one. And the other thing you may be thinking is maybe that Sturber's going to camp, but guess what? He pushed in. Took out your M4043. Unfortunately, the M4043 was a little too clever and tried to move into a new position, but he walked right into where they are. And now you've got a guy on cap. Guy on cap, you're there. One's pretty fast Sturb. The other one's a very fast Cromwell. I'd have probably just student body right, cut straight right, and go at him. I mean, literally, it's your only chance. But you're going to get on cap. He's going to get on cap. Now you've got 2 on cap on both sides. Okay, and it may have been once they got 2 on cap, you weren't going to get there, but at least you'd given it a shot. Sitting on the cap right there isn't going to do anything. Okay, and we get down to the end. Reverse it there. Go to pause. All right, so like I said, some good things to take out from that. Not a bad job tactically of working your tank in certain situations. Maybe a little too pensive or careful at times. And a couple of the decisions I thought, especially that last one as far as positioning goes, or as far as flexing goes, were not the greatest of decisions. So the initial decision where to go, I probably would have gone that way. We talked about going south. The second decision point where you go back, I thought that was a good decision. As far as tactically, you should have gone north of the road and used that berm and pushed right into their face and taken them out. And of course, the third one I think is where you really lost the game. You had a good chance of winning it right there. But as it was, not a bad game. You got 2,500 damage, but ended up being a loss. Hope this helps. Catch you later.